Hey, it's Monster, one half of your dynamic hosting duo of the Nerdy Man Room Show. Proudly bringing you another Man Room Short. Enjoy, and as always, please remember, viewer discretion is advised.
I am a fan of the movie in October, and this was the one I almost overlooked, but this will probably be my animated movie of the year, which is the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
I can back that.
And I gotta say, the first Into the Spider-Verse was a great movie. This one looks just as good. There was a couple of choices I didn't necessarily like in the first one, the way they portrayed the Peter Parker that they had, but at the same time, it was more of it be about Miles, and I actually like Miles as a character, so I enjoyed it. So I'm actually looking forward to this one and seeing where they go to it here, and they're going to have more Spider-Man in it. So I would love to see a voiceover cameo from Toby and Andrew and Tom Holland in it. That would be awesome to have those three there as a cameo and voiceover.
Is the cat from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friend still alive?
I'm not sure because I'm not even sure who did the voice on that one.
Well,
actually, he was in the game. He was in a game.
That was what I'm saying. A couple of years ago, he was actually the voice of that version of Spider-Man in the game. So that's why I was just kind of hopeful.
I think he was too on the animated Spider-Man show when they did the Spider-Verse on there. I think he came back as one of those.
I would love to see him. Even if it's just a small,
Well, I'd actually like to see some of the other animated Spider-Man do voiceovers too. The one from the '90s cartoon. Then you also still have a lot. I think he did Spider-Man 2099 and the new Spider-Man cartoon when they did the Spider-Verse on it. But you also have Neil Patrick Harris did Spider-Man when it was on MTV, that little short-lived animated series they had there. You could have him do a voiceover role. That would be pretty cool. And then you had you still have a few others on there from the video games and the TV shows. I can't remember all of them's name, but I know there was like 4 different ones.
I don't know deep dive into the video games myself, but I mean, I would like to see certain ones, like the animated series from the '90s, Amazing Friends. Even Doogie House would be fun.
And the guy who's done the last 2 series on Disney Plus did a good job with Spider-Man. As far as being the voice, I wouldn't mind seeing him do it,
or whatever it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him do a cameo in that. But again, that movie is going to catch my interest, and I've seen the trailer for it so far. There's not as much as I'd like to see in it to see what's going on, but it looks interesting. Moving to November, though, we've got a couple movies in November. The first one being The Flash. So we're back to DC again, and this one is back in the Snyderverse. And as much as I don't care for Ezra Miller as The Flash, this movie's got me excited just because they're going to be going cross dimension. It is a multiverse movie, and you've got Michael Keaton back as a Batman. So that's got my interest peaked more than anything else, more so than Ezra Miller being in there. The only thing that would make that movie for me is if since Ezra Miller did a spot on the Flash TV show where they did their Crisis crossover, if you got Grant Gustin to do a cameo spot in this movie as a Flash crossing from another universe, or him passing by and speaking, or even showing that scene from Crisis in it, would still hype me because then you connect the two.
I don't think there's no way around having to have that, honestly. I think that's a must. Michael Keaton being back, that's just magic. That says the possibility of Batman Beyond. I'm fine with that. He's already signed to be in the Batgirl. It's going to be on HBO Max. So
yeah,
he's a lot more open to doing more Batman things. And he's finally. I seen an interview yesterday where he said why he finally didn't do Batman Forever, and it was just because of Schumacher. Right. He said he wasn't going to speak ill of the man, but because he's passed away unfortunately. But he had a few meetings with him, and kept saying, "Well, I think the character goes this way. The character is this. The character is this. You should probably lean towards this." And he could tell very fast within a few meetings that not only was he going to completely do away with everything that Burton had laid the groundwork for, he was going campy, Batman, and that pretty much the only knowledge he had of Batman was the '66 show.
Adam West.
Yeah, because he told us that you do know this is how he became Batman, right? And he said Schumacher just looked at him like, what? Like he had no real indication of what his origin was.
Yeah.
So he knew right then that was the way not to. He didn't want to be a part of it. So he's now willing to be a part of it, and I'm excited.
Cool. So the other movie we got in November is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So Black Panther 2. I gotta be honest, my expectations of this one have dropped drastically after Chadwick Boseman's passing because I'm not sure what direction they're going in, and I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna care at all.
I think that one tanks, honestly. The woman power is not, and I'm any female listeners, we got not knocking what you can do. I just don't think that Black Panther's little sister is gonna carry this movie.
If it was a different character, like if they just come up and said, "Hey, we're gonna put Okoye in the costume," I could have been behind her more so than Shuri. Shuri is like way too young and immature in this to me to fill out Black Panther.
It's her going off to summer camp or college, however you want to put it, but no one cares about her adventures abroad in America.
Yeah, I'm not too sold on it. So I'm not. Again, I don't think it's going to be terrible.
I think it's going to introduce. It's going to be an essential movie you have to watch. It's going to introduce some characters, later down the pike that are going to be huge. Like Namor's rumored. They keep teetering back and forth about Doom possibly being a surprise villain. So it's going to be a key movie.
They're going to make it where you have to watch it, basically. But that's the only reason I'm going to watch it, most likely.
I won't go to the theater to watch it. I promise you that will be I'll wait till it hits Disney Plus.
Well, since you brought up Disney Plus, our first December title is actually a Disney Plus. I think it's just a special. I don't think it's a full series, but it's the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I think it's just a one episode sort of thing, probably an hour and a half. No set date for the month yet, but and we don't really have much information. But I gotta say, if James Gunn is doing it along with the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it's probably going to be entertaining. A short little Christmas thing, I'm fine with that. Other than that, in December, we've got Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom coming out on December 16th, which I got to admit, after the first Aquaman, I thought maybe are they going to ruin him or are they going to do him justice? They did him a lot of justice in it, so I'm excited to see this one.
I was a big fan of the Aquaman movie. The only thing that worries me about this one is you're repeating the villain again. I mean, Black Manta's back, and I'm assuming he's basically just the main antagonist of this movie. I mean,
I haven't heard anybody different, so I don't know. This one,
Orm is back. I mean, I do know that, but I mean, is he going to be on the side of the angels or the demons this time? But I mean, even if he's a villain, this go around again, you just repeated the last movie.
Yeah, and I think this movie is going to be hopefully as good as the first one, and you got a little bit more adventure in this one. The last one had a lot of adventure because you went to different places, but this one's going to be more focused on finding a lost kingdom or whatever. But my worry with this movie is what's the box office going to look like, considering all the controversy around the female co-star. And not going to get into it, but she's got a ton of people who have petitions to get rid of her because of all her desire. But you know what? She's just trying to do her job. Either you like her, or you don't, and you go watch the movie and support it, or you don't. Pick one or the other. And at this point, it's going to probably be 50-50 if it's going to make any kind of bank on it. The other movie we got in December, which is our last movie actually to cover, is Avatar 2, which I think is on the same weekend as Aquaman. It's on December 16th. That's the other problem with Aquaman bringing in any bank. If you're going to compete with Avatar 2, other than the Marvel movies, that's your highest grossing film series. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I will watch it, but I'm gonna wait for it to hit something later because DVD or streaming service, because James Cameron has been so pissy about Marvel movies beating his Avatar movies in the box office that I'm just not going to go support it because, I'm a Marvel fan first.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I did not go watch Avatar in theaters. Like, I was the one person that was like almost boycotting this movie. This movie was out 2 years before I watched it.
Yeah.
Because so many people just kept on about it. They just kept on about it. And I was like, I get bent. And Cameron is a dick, so I just refused to go watch it. And then finally, my father, ex-father all the time, he bought it on DVD. And he was like, here, watch this movie. If you don't like it, I'll buy whatever you want to put on the grill. And I was like, I can get behind that. And I found myself actually captivated while watching this movie. It was very good, and I did feel like I maybe done myself a disservice by not going to a theater to watch it.
So I will say this: I watched it. I watched it in the theater and a second time when it was on when it came out on Blu-ray and DVD and stuff. And while I liked the film and it was captivating, it was not everything everybody else made it out to be. Man, the people, I had people telling me, going to the theater, telling me, "Man, I was immersed in that world so much, and when I left, I felt depressed looking at the real world."
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to touch on, Monster. I mean,
I was like, come
reports everywhere where people were like almost wanting to commit suicide because of how wonderful and beautiful that world was, and then they come back into the real world and will become depressed. Well, I get depressed every morning when I wake up and know I got to go to work. So, I mean, join the real world, buddy.
Yeah,
but
get over it.
I do feel like of anything we've touched on today, this will be the movie that will be worth going to an IMAX.
It might be, and I'll say, the last one was fantastic looking on the screen. I'm not going to knock that. It's just the reaction that people had to it. It turned me off to it a little bit. I was like,